Every new day is a fight for survival. Run or be crushed. Fangs and claws tear through every fragile hope. One creature's death feeds another's life. A merciless cycle that never stops turning. In the heart of southern Africa lies the Kalahari, a desert that shouldn't exist by almost every definition except its own. Red sand stretches for hundreds of miles. No permanent river crosses it. And still, against every odds, life here refuses to quit. Night falls over one of the last standing waterholes in the central Kalahari. Temperatures have dropped 30 degrees since noon. A herd of gemsbok has gathered to drink, dark shapes moving cautiously in the moonlight, ears constantly turning. They can survive for days without water, sometimes weeks, pulling moisture from roots and tubers buried deep in the sand. But when water is here, in front of them, they never pass it up, hidden in the dry brush nearby. Something has been watching for over an hour, utterly motionless, waiting for the wind to hold steady in its favor. The Kalahari lion is not the lion of the Serengeti. Longer legs, a leaner frame, a body built to cover greater distances on far less water than its plains cousins ever need to manage. Some prides here range across territories exceeding 1,000 square miles. Hunting grounds larger than entire countries elsewhere on the continent. Researcher Gus Mills, who has tracked these desert prides for decades, has documented something unusual about this population. No wildebeest here. No zebra herd sweeping across open grass. No easy abundance of prey species to fall back on when the hunt goes wrong. In much of the Kalahari, the gemsbok is nearly the only large meal on offer. Season after season, year after year. And the gemsbok is not an easy one. Straight horns nearly a meter long. Sharp enough to kill a full-grown lion if it turns to face its attacker in time. A weapon capable of punching straight through a rib cage in a single desperate thrust. Rangers here have found lion carcasses gored clean through by a gemsbok that simply refused to die quietly. The lion knows this instinctively, the way every predator in this landscape learns the cost of a careless approach. It never gives the gemsbok that chance to turn and fight back. It drops low, moving upwind, eyes locked on a young female drifting to the edge of the herd, slightly separated from the tighter cluster of adults near the center. Every step lands without a sound, paws placed with total precision across ground that would betray a careless hunter in an instant. 10 minutes pass, then 20. The lion doesn't move a muscle. At under 50 feet, it finally breaks from cover. The gemsbok never gets the chance to turn and fight. A single collision, a bite to the throat, and it's over in seconds. The herd scattering in every direction across the pale sand. Hooves throwing up clouds of dust that hang in the moonlight long after they've gone. The pride feeds, bellies fill. Then they leave, wasting no energy guarding a kill in a place where every calorie spent is a calorie that has to be earned back tomorrow. And there's no guarantee tomorrow offers anything at all. That's the moment a black-backed jackal has been waiting for since the hunt began. It watched the entire kill from a dry bush 100 meters away, never once moving closer while the lion still fed, patient in a way that has kept it alive through countless nights exactly like this one. Now it moves in fast, tearing at whatever remains before the vultures find it too, working quickly while the scent of blood still hangs low over the sand. Within the hour, jackals, vultures, and even a passing brown hyena will have stripped the carcass to bone. By morning, nothing remains but a patch of flattened grass and a scatter of white bone fragments already sinking into the sand. Even the desert's apex predator pays a price out here. Distance, patience, and a body built for endurance rather than comfort. Nothing in the Kalahari eats for free, not even the lion. When the blood has dried into the sand and the pride has vanished back into the dark, the rest of the Kalahari finally goes back to work, not with fangs, but with something quieter. At the edge of that same dry pan, a small shape moves through the returning heat with its own tail arched forward over its back. The Cape ground squirrel, no bigger than a rabbit, has turned its own bushy tail into a portable parasol, shading its body while it forages across open ground with no other shelter in sight. Surface sand here can climb past 60 degrees Celsius. Bare skin left exposed to that heat for more than a few minutes starts to blister. Without that tail, the squirrel's entire foraging day would collapse to almost nothing, forced underground for hours it can't afford to lose. Biologist Jane Waterman has tracked colonies of these squirrels across the Kalahari for decades. Her research reveals a society built on numbers. A dozen or more related females share one burrow network, raising young together, foraging together, standing sentry together. No single animal left to watch for danger alone. Sentries rotate the duty through the day, one animal upright and scanning while the rest dig and graze without having to look up. Pups born into a larger colony survive their first year at measurably higher rates than pups raised by smaller, more isolated groups. That number matters most when a Cape cobra appears. One squirrel facing that snake alone is dead in seconds. A strike carrying enough venom to kill something many times its size A colony is a different equation entirely. Several converge at once, tails puffed, darting in and pulling back, harassing the cobra from every side until it decides the fight isn't worth finishing. Waterman has watched this play out dozens of times in the field. The cobra almost always retreats first. No new weapon evolved for either threat, heat or venom. Just an old tale and an old bond between relatives, repurposed twice over. Dusk brings a different sound. Hundreds of burrow mouths across the dune line begin to click, a sharp, repeating call early researchers mistook for something barking in the distance. The barking gecko waits out the worst of the heat underground, then climbs to its entrance the moment the sun drops low enough. Males call to attract females and warn off rivals, sometimes for an hour straight without pause. Each one defending a small patch of sand immediately around its own burrow. A female moving through the dune line can compare a dozen calling males in a single evening before choosing one. Calling at noon would give away its position to every hunting eye above. Calling too late risks the owls and snakes already active in full dark. Dusk is the only safe window. And the gecko has built its entire courtship around that narrow hour. Males competing purely through volume and persistence rather than any display that would be wasted once the light fades. One wrong vibration in the sand and the call cuts off mid-note. The gecko gone before the threat even arrives, back underground in under a second. A minute later, if nothing follows, clicking starts again, one burrow, then a dozen, then the whole dune line rejoining the chorus. This entire ritual repeats itself night after night for as long as the mating season lasts. Further out, something moves in bounds too long to belong to any ordinary rodent. The springhare stands upright on oversized hind legs, eyes huge against a small skull. Built entirely for the hours after sunset. It isn't a hare. It isn't related to a kangaroo. It's a rodent that arrived independently at the same solution kangaroos found on another continent facing the same problem. Open ground with nowhere to hide except speed itself. By day, it seals itself inside its burrow completely, plugging the entrance from within. Sealed off so tightly that a predator standing directly above it would never know. A single leap can carry it several meters. Direction shifting mid-air. Hard to predict, harder to follow. Its tail, nearly as long as its body, works as a counterbalance mid-jump. keeping the animal stable through every violent change in direction. But speed alone is only half the answer. The springhare digs burrows deep below the surface. Multiple entrances spaced apart. And it's the burrow, not the leap, that decides who survives the night. Not too far from that entrance. Even the fastest springhare eventually runs out of ground. A patient jackal, tracking direction rather than matching speed, wins in the end almost every time. Talent without an exit only delays what happens next. Somewhere between the squirrel's colony and the springhare's solitary bounds, something else hunts alone, almost unnoticed. Because it looks, to most eyes, like it shouldn't be wild at all. The African wildcat is the direct ancestor of every house cat on Earth. A lineage confirmed by geneticist Carlos Driscoll in a 2007 study published in Science. Tracing every domestic cat alive back to a handful of wildcat populations across the Middle East and North Africa. In the Kalahari, it hunts rodents and birds through the night, drinking almost nothing, pulling every drop of moisture it needs straight from its prey. A single wildcat can account for dozens of rodents in a single week, hunting almost entirely by ear in the dark. Slightly longer legs, a leaner build shaped by generations of genuinely wild hunting rather than a warm house and a food bowl. Camera traps here regularly capture individuals. Researchers have to double-check aren't simply a farm cat that wandered too far. Hybridization with domestic cats is now one of the biggest threats to keeping this bloodline pure at all. Hidden not by camouflage, but by familiarity. Invisible because it looks exactly like something everyone already knows. Beneath all four of them, something has taken concealment to its limit. The Kalahari trapdoor spider digs straight down into the sand. Sometimes 20 to 30 centimeters deep. Then seals the entrance with a lid woven from silk and grit, invisible against the ground around it. Silk trip lines radiate out just beneath the surface, reading every footstep before it arrives, an early warning system with no moving parts at all. The spider waits below for days at a time, forelegs resting lightly on the lines connecting the door to the sand around it, burning almost no energy while it waits. When something crosses the line, the door springs open. The strike lands in a fraction of a second, and the door falls shut again. No chase, no web to repair. No scent trail for a rival to follow. A burrow built once can be used for years. Patched occasionally, but never rebuilt from scratch. Just a door built once, and patience that never runs out. 5 different bets against a desert with no water on the surface at all. Tail turned into shade and a colony into a weapon. A call timed to the one safe hour of the evening. A leap paired with an exit. A body that barely needs to drink. A door built to look like nothing at all. None of them found water. Every one of them found a way around needing it, and not one of these strategies would work if it swapped places with any of the others. Trapdoor spider trying to outrun a jackal would starve. A springhare trying to ambush from beneath the sand would starve just as fast. Not every answer here belongs to something that walks the sand. Above it, one family solved the same problem by flying straight through it. At dawn, sandgrouse converge on the Kalahari's few permanent water points. Hundreds of birds from every direction funneling toward the same narrow strip of open water. And one species performs a piece of behavior first documented by ornithologists Tom Cade and Gordon McLean back in the 1960s, still one of the strangest parenting adaptations ever recorded in any bird alive today. Male Namaqua sandgrouse flies 60 to 80 kilometers every morning, straight to water. Chicks hatch too far from any water source to make that flight themselves, and can't yet fly at all. At the pool, the male doesn't just drink. He wades in and rocks his belly feathers against the surface. Feathers built, Cade and McLean found, with tightly coiled barbules that hold water like a sponge. A mechanism unlike anything else recorded in bird parenting anywhere on Earth. Single soaking can trap several times the water an ordinary feather could ever hold. Saturated and visibly heavier, carrying a real fraction of his own body weight in retained water. He flies the entire distance home. Wings working harder against the extra load the whole way. Sometimes into a headwind that makes the return trip even longer than the flight out. His chicks drink straight from his soaked feathers the moment he lands. One parent's body serving as the only water container for kilometers in any direction. Refilled and flown home again the next morning. And the morning after that, for weeks until the chicks are finally strong enough to make the flight themselves. Burchell's sandgrouse solved the same danger differently, arriving in flocks of dozens or hundreds at once. Wings roaring in low over the pan in a single coordinated way. A falcon watching the water's edge can strike only one bird out of a crowd that size. The odds of any individual being the one targeted shrinking with every extra bird in the flock. Land, drink, leave, all within minutes. safety measured in numbers rather than distance covered. Entire flocks have been recorded departing a pan within 90 seconds of touching down. The double-banded sandgrouse skips the dangerous morning rush entirely, drinking at dusk and after dark instead. When the raptors crowding every other species schedule have already stopped hunting for the day. Its plumage runs darker and more finely mottled, better suited to the low light it has chosen to operate in. Coloring that suggests this timing shift runs deep enough to have shaped the bird's appearance over generations. Fewer competitors crowd the water's edge at these hours too. Less jostling, less noise, less risk of a mistake in the dark. The yellow-throated sandgrouse solved it through geography, nesting only near low-lying grassland that holds moisture longer after rain. 60 kilometers becomes 6. The trade-off is range. This bird lives only where that exact terrain exists. Its population scattered into isolated pockets rather than spread evenly across the desert, the way its more flexible relatives manage. Where that terrain doesn't exist, neither does this species. The spotted sandgrouse solved it through its own body, tolerating higher core temperatures for longer stretches than any of its relatives, buying itself the ability to delay a flight it can't avoid forever. Field records show individuals staying active through heat that would send other sandgrouse seeking shade hours earlier. Fewer total trips logged across a season, fewer chances for a falcon to catch it exposed. Of all 5 strategies in this family, this is the only one built entirely into the bird's own physiology rather than its schedule, its numbers, or its address. One family, 5 different relationships with the same missing water. A soaked belly flown 60 kilometers. A crowd large enough to disappear into a shifted clock. A nest moved closer to the source. A body built to simply wait longer. None of these answers is more correct than the others. Each is simply what this particular lineage arrived at, given exactly where it happened to nest and given exactly how much risk its ancestors were willing to accept for the sake of a single chick. None of these species, the lion, the squirrel, the gecko, the springhare, the wildcat, the spider, the 5 sandgrouse, ever accounted for the one force now reshaping this desert faster than any drought in its long history. The lion caps the gemsbok population that would otherwise strip this fragile grass bare within a few bad seasons. The squirrel disperses seeds and turns soil across enormous stretches of ground, work no machine out here could replace. The gecko and the spider keep insect numbers in check beneath a surface almost nobody examines. The springhare feeds every owl and jackal hunting this reserve after dark, critical link holding up an entire tier of nighttime predators. The wildcat keeps rodents from overrunning the grass. The sandgrouse through those long daily flights. Physically stitched together water points and nesting ground, separated by tens of kilometers, carrying seeds and nutrients between patches of desert that would otherwise share nothing at all. Veterinary cordon fences built to separate wildlife from cattle stretch for thousands of kilometers across Botswana and have been linked directly to wildlife die-offs when herds couldn't reach water blocked behind wire during past droughts. Tens of thousands of animals died along these fence lines in a single documented event decades ago. Mining has altered groundwater patterns every burrowing species here depends on completely. Boreholes drilled for cattle have drained natural pans faster than the rains can refill them. A warming climate stretches the dry season longer every year, forcing every sandgrouse species to fly further for water that takes longer to find. A gap that keeps widening with each passing decade. None of this trends. A dry pan a sandgrouse used to visit doesn't make headlines. But there is real ground for hope. The Central Kalahari Game Reserve is one of the largest protected areas on the continent. Managed to protect the whole system rather than a single flagship species. Partnerships with sand communities, whose knowledge of this land's hidden water stretches back tens of thousands of years, now shape conservation strategy directly rather than sitting outside it. And the water trapping structure inside a Namakwa sandgrouse's belly feathers, first mapped by Cade and McLean decades ago, is still studied today by engineers chasing the same trick for people who need it just as badly as this desert does. For millions of years, one of the driest places on the continent balanced itself around water. So scarce it had to be hunted, carried, timed, or hoarded, never simply found. Remove one thread, the lion's kill, the squirrel's colony, the sandgrouse's daily flight, and the system doesn't collapse instantly. It frays, faster here than almost anywhere with a real river running through it. Because there was never any surplus built in to absorb a mistake. Most people assume a place this dry has nothing left to lose. The truth runs the other way. Every drop of water here already represents millions of years working at the very edge of what's possible. And for the first time in this desert's entire history, The one variable it never evolved to handle is us.